I just finished a print that took almost 10,000 grams of resin. This is by far my largest print to date, and I will never print another one this big.
Remember when I said that over a year ago? I lied. Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to go over this mammoth of a print that took over 17,000 grams of resin. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about the Juggernaut versus Colossus diorama from Wicked Art. So I have been getting a lot of requests of people wanting to see how big this thing actually is. And it is not painted, it is not completed. This is in raw form. And I'm going to show you a little bit about it today and kind of talk about what the processes were in order to print this big. So maybe in the future you can do the same thing with your diorama if you're crazy like me. All right, so we're going to go to another part of the house where this thing is stored because it is that damn big. All right, everybody, so here it is in raw form. I did do a little bit of primering and prep work on Colossus. This is my next paint job that I'm getting ready to start working on here. But as you can see, I've done a little puttying already and everything. I got to sand this thing down. But it is huge. It is big. And this one took approximately 17,000 grams of resin, actually a little bit more than that. And there's actually a couple of pieces that I have to reprint because this Juggernaut here actually comes with like 3 different heads. So this is the one right here, and you can see this in the palm of my hand how big this thing is. It is actually quarter scale. It's printed 150% to the actual file in itself, but there is another Juggernaut head that comes with this that has a broken helmet. I'm not going to take all that all the way off, but I have to reprint that because it fell and broke, and so I have to redo all that. But let me zoom back a little bit so you can see the whole thing. He's got company right here. My Hulk is actually the one that I did from Alvaro Stuardo is sitting next to it. As you can see, like how big these things are together. And I also got Magneto over here. So these are my quarter scale statues, some of the recent ones that I've done, and they're out here because I am out of room. So let's look at some of the detail on this piece right here. And one of the things that intrigues me the most about printing this large of a scale is all the details that come out. Like this right here, this newspaper, all that printing and stuff like that is really cool. It comes out pretty neat. I don't know if it's very legible, but when you start painting it, it just really pops. So that's one of the things that I really like. But as you can see, the head here, I've got a little spot there I've got to cover up on Colossus. Colossus actually has 2 heads. I've got one that I also have to reprint because it broke as well. It broke with the Juggernaut helmet here. But when you print like this, the details just come alive in these pieces here. And again, I still have prep work to do, but for a raw print, I could not be happier. This thing turned out exceptionally well. And to get into some of the other details, like the Xavier schools for gifted youngsters, this emblem here, this logo, and then the actual plaque that's on the front of the school of the wall. And then just look at the brick detail alone. Wicked did an amazing job on this. This is by far really the most detailed piece I think that they've ever done. They really outdid themselves. The base is so big that I actually had to print it, I think, in like 12 different pieces and glue together. I still have some patchwork to do here on the seams, but as you could tell how big my hand is, how big this thing is. It is actually 27 inches long by 21 inches wide. So it's a mammoth, and this thing is heavy. It's all printed at 1.8 millimeter thickness. It is full resin. There is no FDM in this whatsoever. And this thing is reinforced. I've already done it. The base, I've reinforced it a little bit with some casting resin on the inside. That way it's not so brittle. So when I pick this thing up, none of this is, the Juggernaut and Colossus are not glued down by any means. They're fully detachable, and I aim to keep them that way in order so I can transport this thing or move it or whatever. But look at this lamppost here. This is over probably 15 inches long. And the ideal was to, and I still may do it, was to cut this bulb out right here and print that in clear and actually put an LED there. So I still may do that. It looks like it might be routed easy enough to do, but that sticks up there like that. So yeah, I'm gonna try and go all out with this. But I mean, this is just an amazing feat in itself right here to print this thing. I've seen a lot of people on the Wicked forum to do it in quarter scale or half scale, or I'm sorry, 1/6 scale. I'll get it right in a minute. And other different smaller scales, 1/10 and everything like that. I'm not sure anybody else has been crazy enough to do this in quarter scale. So yeah, I'll show you here how this comes out. All right, there we go. But yeah, this thing is massive. But the fire hydrant detail is just unbelievable. And there's a lot of seams and stuff like that I have to patch up a little bit. But you know, the biggest gaps that I have are right here in the base. And that's because, again, when you print this thing in this size, you simply sometimes you get a little bit of distortion and everything, and it just takes a little patchwork, but it'll get done. So I also think that Juggernaut stands about 26 to 27 inches tall in himself, standing on this base here. Again, I have to store this out in my collection room that's under construction right now, but I will be doing this build up, this paint up in different videos, because there's no way to get everything done in one video without being super long. Now, one thing I'll tell you that I'm planning on doing, I haven't decided yet, on Colossus, you know, he has the metallic skin and everything. So I'm thinking one or two things. I'm thinking either Alcad Chrome, or I'm wanting to try out this new graphite powder that I just got in, and I've been doing some experimenting with it, and it is awesome looking. But the only problem that I have with graphite powder is you can't really airbrush over it. It tends to float on the graphite, and I wanted to do some deep shading in this as well. So I'm going to tinker with it a little bit. I'll probably print out a couple of heads, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, how to use graphite powder instead of painting and everything. It's a really neat process, so stay tuned for that. And also, I used a couple of different resins in this. I used actually Nova 3D, and I used some Sunlu resin. This was the first project that I tried using Sunlu for the first time, and it's really good. The lighter gray is the Sunlu, and this right here I think is the Nova 3D. But the Sunlu resin did really, really well. It holds up really well. It's not brittle or anything like that. And you can get it off Amazon really cheap. I think they got like 2,000 grams for like $36 on Amazon. And there is an affiliate link below in the description for that. So it is official. This is the biggest piece that I have printed to date. I don't see me printing anything bigger than this right here, but however, I did print an Optimus Prime head at 300%. If you follow my other social media accounts, you can see it on there. But I don't know if that, even at 300%, that Optimus Prime, I don't think that it'll be near as big and take as much resin as this one here. This one here, as far as the printers that I used the Lynette deck to print a lot of my bigger pieces, like the torso here on Juggernaut, the leg, and the body, and all this stuff on Colossus. It is the biggest printer that I've got, with the biggest Z-axis and stuff like that for height on some of these pieces. And I did use the M3 Max when it did work. I managed to get out a couple of pieces on it. That's a printer that I've had nothing but problems out of. I do not recommend it at all to buy, and you know, it was just a waste. But I don't want to go on record saying that I will never print anything bigger than this, because you never know if it intrigues me, and if Wicked or some other Patreon or some other artist comes out with something just as good and enticing for me to print, then I'll do it. But I love this piece. I want you guys to see the paint, you know, when I do it individually, but I wanted you to see how the raw form of it is before we get started on that. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that little behind the scenes sort of snippet of what a print looks like, printed that big and before paint in its raw form, because you guys have been asking to see stuff like that. So one of my goals this year is to get more in depth into things like that, like when a print comes out, what the process of it was, to tell you a little bit more about it rather than just do a pretty paint up and just make a video for it. So another one of my goals this year is to feature some up and coming artists. So if you are an up and coming artist, or if you have a Patreon of your own and you'd like to get featured in one of the videos, hit me up in the email below, and maybe we can feature you on one of the videos. So I will be doing some live streams relatively soon that'll feature some guests and some cameos from some artists and everything. And hopefully we can feature some of these up and coming artists with their new patrons as well. Speaking of patrons, I do have a link below in the description to my Patreon, and we also have a couple of new members as well. Troy Prosser and Roger Martin. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and becoming the newest members of the Patreon. And if you would like to also become a member of the Patreon, there is a link below in the description, as well as affiliate links, link to Amazon, different products and stuff like that that I use in my videos. It gives me a little kickback to help keep these videos going and everything, and I appreciate the support. And if you don't want to become a member of the Patreon, simply just watch the videos, watch the next one, and so on and so forth. And we also now have the super thanks below for a one-time donation to the channel if you would like. So that is all for now, everyone. Stay safe out there, get out and create something, print, prep, paint, repeat. And until the next video, everyone, we'll see you. Man, I'd love to print this big, 300%, but I just have nowhere to put it. Maybe we can give it away.